Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. Alright, so tonight I am here back with some more Dungeon Degenerates, the Hand of Doom. The amazing game that just keeps on getting better. So recently, the first big content expansion, Mean Streets, was delivered. This was kickstarted about a year ago. And I got it, I think, last week. Now, unfortunately, I already mixed in a lot of the content to the base game because a lot of the stuff it came with was just different encounter and monster cards to add to your established decks, your decks that are already in the base game. And also some loot and some epic loot and just a few other things. But I thought we could take a quick look at a little bit of what you get in here. And then I'm going to take a detailed look at my top 5 favorite characters so far. So Mean Streets is pretty neat. It focuses on the settlements of the game. So in Dungeon Degenerates, the settlements, there wasn't a lot going on in them, and this kind of remedies that. And let's just take a look quick here at the back of the box. So, Mean Streets. While the Hand of Doom menaces the countryside, a new terror looms on the horizon. Spreading through the vermin-infested cellars, back alleys, and sewage canals of the Imperial sprawl, the plague threatens to run rampant through the Verstrike and scattered renegade settlements of the borderlands. Unleashed on the civilized world through numerous vectors lurking in the refuse and rot of the Empire's city squalor, the plague is secretly fed by cultists and foul monsters conjured forth by witches and wizards obedient to the will of the dread necromancer. Man, these guys, their writing is so freaking awesome. I love it so much. It's I really think that Goblinko and Dungeon Degenerates has taken the mantle, taken the crown from Games Workshop as far as their fluff goes. With the death toll mounting, the plague finders scramble frantically to contain the spread of contagion. The scholarly elite develop elaborate and expensive cures, and the House of the Verstrike bargain and quarrel over the rights to sell medicine. While the servants of the Empire squabble and bicker, the flies gather in the vast black and buzzing clouds to feed on the dead and dying in the gutters of the Mean Streets. So this expansion, it's a small box expansion, and it comes with 4 new adventurers, 4 new degenerates, and then also comes with a bunch of cards, small cards, skill cards, and the cards that I mentioned before. And the main thing that this adds is a plague element. And so you have these plague tokens, and they spread throughout the streets of the settlements, kind of like, the Black Plague did. And so it's a new threat that you have to manage on the board, and you can use that with any other mission in the mission book or in any of the little supplemental missions. So it's kind of it almost adds you can almost think of it adding kind of a pandemic-like threat management system on top of the one that's already in the base game with the danger levels. So here's the little manual that it comes with. Once again, it is on that kind of thinner paper. I really wish, that's my only complaint with the game, is that they would print their rule books on just a little heavier stock paper. But again, it just looks fantastic. Incredible colors. Goes through, you get some on settlement encounters, so we'll look at those in a minute. That's the main thing I think this expansion adds, or the main thing that I'm excited about. Then you have the plague, which I already showed you the tokens for. And then you have 2 different adventures missions. One is a new way to start a campaign, and then the other is a substitute for the establishing a base scenario. You get this nice card here, this reference card that I've laminated, and it goes over all of the new rules. So you have your outbreaks. You can become immunized. So if you get infected with the plague and you cure it completely from your character, well, then you're immunized, and you can't get the plague again. So that's pretty cool. Pro-vaccination, guys, even in Dungeon Degenerates. Tells you what to do with the plague, and then some new monster abilities that some of the new monsters have. And then so this is the deck here of settlement encounters. So this adds random encounters to the settlement, and you might have to deal with certain things in the settlement just like you would if you were out adventuring. And each one will have to happen in a certain settlement or a certain area in order to maintain a thematic tie to what's going on. I haven't read a lot of these. I don't really like to read them too much because I do like to keep them, fresh for interesting surprises to happen. But I have flipped through them, and a lot of them seem pretty cool. A lot of different variety of what kind of things you can encounter within the different settlements, both good and bad, mysterious, dangerous, mystical, and you get quite a good number of them. I really like that. It's a nice sized deck, lots of good random encounters to add to a whole new deck of random encounters. That is very, very cool. So overall, I am very happy with Mean Streets. I mean, getting 4 new characters, a whole new deck of encounter cards, plus cards to add to every other deck in the game is really, really nice. And right now, I'm just using it to hold tokens because my main box is just absolutely filled to the brim with cards and character sheets. So we've got all the characters, and then the rest is just tons and tons of cards. This game has so much to it already, and I think they're still planning on some more expansions. Hopefully Sean is recovering with his health. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Sean, the main artist and co-designer, he had a stroke last year, and just completely out of the blue. He's a pretty young guy and pretty healthy by all accounts, and yeah, so just kind of a really, really bad situation to happen to him and his family. So we wish him all the best and hope he makes a speedy recovery. So now we're going to take a look at my top 5 favorite characters. So I did not pick these characters for gameplay reasons. These characters were mainly picked because I like the look of them, I like their backstory, I like the cards that the developers, the designers suggest you play. I think these are my 5 favorite characters in terms of theme and also in the way they play. But there are so many characters in this game now. I believe there are almost 30, so I haven't played close to all of them. But these are the 5 that I think are the most interesting to me right now. I am going to do probably a video where I go through every character and we'll look at them in detail. So think of this as kind of like the first part of that series. So let's take a look at the first one here. And we have Alley Cat. Crime. So the reason she was arrested was the taint of corruption. Her homeland is Bruthelberg. Alley Cat was born with the mark of the beast and left to die at the edge of the Witchwood. It was the curse of lycanthropy. that both doomed and saved Alley Cat, who lived as a wild animal in the haunted forest. After 10 years of living as a beast, Alley Cat found her way back to the city, where she survived by begging, borrowing, and stealing on the streets of Bruselberg, disguised as a common urchin to hide under the noses of the Inquisition. Run in for vagrancy, her secret was soon discovered, and now she waits in a cell for the torture monks and executioners plotting her escape. Alley Cat wants to claw her way to the top, but isn't too proud to beg for her milk money. So she's like a werecat, and her suggested skills are sneak attack and gourmet, and her suggested weakness is hydrophobia. Her class is a lycanthrope, rogue, and she's wild. She starts with a begging bowl and a safety collar. And her skills, she has claws and lycanthropy. And the way she generates luck is when you win a fight with 3 or more wounds on your lycanthropy card, you gain 1 luck. So she's trying to get some wounds on one of her skill cards. I really like her little drawing there. It's one of the more cute drawings in the game. And so now let's take a look at, let's see, her. Here's her little character token. So I went ahead and I've been painting in all of the tokens, all the cardboard in this game with a black marker, just to kind of give it that nice, little nicer look. So there's her standee. And then let's see here. So she starts with the begging bowl and the safety collar. So there's the begging bowl. When you give gold to another adventurer, you must make a morale test. If you fail, you become demoralized. And when she's in, think that means when she's in a settlement or camping, she can roll a d6. If your roll is equal to or greater than your current gold, gain gold equal to the difference. So she has a nice way of gaining gold, but she doesn't want to give it up because she doesn't want to go back to being poor. And then the safety collar, she cannot be defeated by her own mastery, skills, or weaknesses. If you would inflict the final wound on yourself, place that wound on this card instead. So that kind of works in with her theme of being kind of a feral, wild child. And let's see, her weakness that they suggest is hydrophobia. So as a cat, she should be afraid of the water. Boats and bodies of water make you extremely uncomfortable. When you lake port travel or river port travel, you become demoralized. So she doesn't like to be near water. So again, that makes sense thematically. And then she's got claws and lycanthropy. So let's see here. Claws and gourmet and lycanthropy. So those were the 3 skills. Oh, and sneak attack. That was another one that they suggested. So lycanthropy is one of the more complex skills in the game. As a quick action, place a wound counter on this card or remove a wound from it. If there are counters on this card, you take 1 wound at the end of your turn each round, but it gives you bonuses. And with her safety collar, this can't kill her. So that's a really nice combination. And as a mastery, well, then you get even more powerful with that. And then her claws is her main melee attack. And gives her a little more mastery, a little more powerful. Gourmet, at the end of a fight, you may consume 1 brute, filth, or goblin that your party destroyed. So she could eat her prey to help heal her. And then her sneak attack is a quick action that just gives her a sneak attack. And the mastery makes that more powerful. So yeah, she's an interesting character. I like how thematic she is. And I love the art. It's cute. And she has a somewhat cute backstory. All right, so my next favorite character is the Witch Smeller. So kind of like, the Witchfinder General. Very reminiscent of a character from Warhammer Quest or from the Old World and Games Workshop. So her crime was impersonating an officer of the Inquisition and unlicensed witch smelling. Her homeland was Brutalberg. Armed with a heavy pistol and extensive training to sniff out the distinctive sulfurous scents of witchcraft, the witch smeller once practiced her trade in the villages and hamlets of the lowlands. There, she rounded up witches and mutants at rates competitive with those of the smellers of the Inquisition. A good business while it lasted. After all, only witches refused to pay. Unfortunately, the Inquisition took issue with her unsanctioned methods, and then there were the accusations of extortion and questions to be answered. Questions about how she came to wear the uniform of a sanctioned witch smeller pursuant, recently gone missing. So obviously you can connect the dots there. She probably killed one of the official witch smellers and took the uniform to go off and do witch smelling as a kind of vigilante. She's a human, a hunter, and a Puritan. Her items are a weighted pistol and witch smeller's nose. So the weighted pistol is a range weapon, and you can put shot in it to make it have different abilities. And then her witch smeller's nose. While there is a heretic or witch monster in your space, you are immune to ambush. So a lot of her abilities are more dependent on the foes that you are facing. So she's not, in a general sense, super powerful, but against certain types of enemies, she is more powerful. She regains luck for if she wins a fight, and if she destroys any heretics or witches and she passes a morale check, she gains luck. So again, in this game, luck is very powerful, and I love that the way that the different characters gain luck back is super thematic. And then her skills that she starts with is Intimidate. So this is probably one of my least favorite skills, but as a quick action, if you destroy an enemy this round, choose a target bandit or heretic. So again, it's only against certain types of enemies, and there are quite a bit of those kinds of enemies in the game, but these abilities that rely on other certain criteria throughout the game, they often don't trigger. So that can be a little frustrating, but again, it is highly thematic. And then the skills that the game suggests you work towards are Inquisitor and Warding. So warding is when you take damage from a demon, reduce that damage by 1. So she's stronger against fighting against demons. And then the Inquisitor, your attacks deal +1 damage against demons and heretics. So she's really strong against, what is it, bandits, demons, and heretics. That's really who she is trying to fight, and witches, of course. So yeah, that is the Witch Smeller. All right, next up we have the Highway Robber. Her crime, armed robbery and banditry. Her home, the foothills. Lurking in ditches along the roadside of the Verstrike to ambush the wealthy passengers of stagecoaches and richly stocked wagon trains of the noble houses and Highland guilds, the highway robber's profitable career earned her some powerful enemies. The heavy bounty placed on her head by frustrated Verstmeisters of House Pachenschichten, Pachistisen, I'm not quite sure how to say that German-esque word, was soon collected, but it's only a matter of time before she escapes again and returns to her roving life of banditry and brazen rebellion. So she's a human, rogue, and a hunter. Her item, she starts with a blunderbuss and a smoke bomb. I love her look. She almost kind of looks like a female vampire hunter D or something. Really cool. And I also love the look of the blunderbuss. It's a really neat looking weapon. And it's one of the more complex guns. And then her smoke bomb here. It's a one use, so the one use items they're okay. You don't hold on to them very long. Use them, and then hopefully you can get them back somehow. And her skill is a looter, so I love this skill. This is one of my favorite skills in the game. So when you make a loot roll, roll 2 dice and use either result. This always makes it easier to get loot after a battle or something, and that is always handy. And again, super thematic because she is out there trying to get hers. And then the skills that they suggest for her are black market and tracking. So tracking works in an outdoor space, and when she makes a perception test to explore or hunt, you may roll 3 dice and use any 2, so she's better at tracking outdoors. And then again, that gets a little more powerful with mastery. And the black market skill, you have to be in bold in a settlement. Draw a card from the loot deck. If it is an ally, item, or service, you may purchase it for normal cost. So this just kind of gives her an additional opportunity to gain items or gain certain things when she goes to a settlement. Oh, I think we forgot to look at the weakness for the witch hunter, mistrust. Sorry about that. Let's go back real quick to look at mistrust. Don't forget, these people are criminals. Trust no one. If she fails a recovery test while there is a rogue, wild, or warlock adventurer or ally in your space, you become demoralized. So she does not trust everyone in her party. And then the highway robber, her weakness is astronomiophobia. You would do almost anything to avoid being locked up again. If you fail a recovery test in a law space, you become demoralized and cannot invest or trade this turn. So she will do anything to not go back to jail. All right, so coming up next, we have Jack Slasher. This guy's backstory is super awesome. If you guys have read this book by Norman Partridge called, my mind is completely blanking right now. It's about a monster, a pumpkin monster called the October Boy. Harvest. I will put it in the comments. It is a fantastic horror novella, and that's kind of why I picked this. One of my favorite horror novellas of all time. Dark Harvest. Unbelievably good. It's written almost like it's describing that you're watching a movie and describing camera shots and angles, and just it's like in the book is almost in real time. It's really short. It's about 120 pages. You can easily read it in a single setting, and it has some of the most, like, the best Halloween imagery. I read it every year. I read that and Ray Bradbury's The October Tree every year for my Halloween reading. But anyways, Jack Slasher, his crime, murder. His homeland, the fields. This lanky loner lurks among the fields, wearing the tattered old clothes of a young farmhand, a strange, quiet lad, gone missing some 6 years past. Hiding the features of this strange apparition is the Kürbis mask, a glowing carved pumpkin hat normally worn by heretics of the lowlands for the traditional and illegal harvest festival Kürbisnacht. Locals blame him for ferociously mutilating pumpkin patches, missing farm animals, and even lone travelers lost forever in the trails through the corn and wheat. His name is left scratched on the rotting wooden planks of barns and fences of the lowlands across the Verstrike. All the children know, if you don't behave, the Jack Slasher will come for you. Yeah, that is just awesome. That's such a super cool backstory. Oh yeah, and then this was their character tokens here. Again, super nice. I love them. All right, so he is a human hunter, wild. He starts with a pumpkin hat and a skinning knife. So there's his pumpkin hat. An ancient symbol of the pumpkin cult, worn at the festival of the Kürbisnacht to ward away evil spirits and celebrate the harvest. And then his skinning knife is a basic melee weapon. He gets luck back by he has to make a magic test when you destroy a monster while you are focused. And if he passes, he gains 1 luck. His main skill is going to be Bloodlust. Let's see, Bloodlust. So it helps him become focused, so that's nice. His skill works in tandem with the way he gains luck back, so that's a nice combo there. And then it also suggests you take Backstab and Fieldcraft. So Fieldcraft just helps when you're out in the wilds for recovery. And then Backstab, of course, you can attack by ignoring a point of armor. And then both of those in the mastery form get a little stronger. And then his weakness is Battle Crazed. So Battle Crazed, when you attempt to escape from a fight, you must first make a morale test. If you fail, you must choose a different combat action or attack this turn. You cannot escape. So once he's in a combat, he likes to stay in combat to do some more murdering. Okay, finally my top 5 favorite characters is this awesome dude here, the Cloaked Killer. His crime, murder. His homeland, the Reptilian Sky City. I hope we see that at some point in the game. A mysterious assassin from beyond the eastern mountains. The Cloaked Killer's motives and mission are unknown. Creeping unseen through the shadows, its twitchy, serpentine eyes scan for targets through the lenses of its strange helmet. And with a faint click, its victim writhes on the ground in agony, a dart protruding from the neck and fast-acting poison ravaging the nervous system. Is it a secret agent for some sinister foreign power? Or does it kill for sport or out of hatred for mankind? It will never say, and the only certainty is the fast-approaching fate of its victims. So I love anachronistic things, and this thing feels like kind of like this weird sci-fi, something maybe out of a Jack Vance or Michael Moorcock novel coming into this bizarre fantasy world. And I love his look. Just super cool. So he's a reptilian hunter and a scholar. His items are a dart pistol, poison darts, and his hunter's helm. So there's his dart pistol. It's a ranged weapon and it can use darts. And then he starts off with some poison darts that have a whole bunch of different effects. And then he gets his hunter's helm, which gives him a couple abilities, whether he's aggressive or defending. And let's see, his main skills are Claws and Lurker. So we've already seen Claws with the alley cat. And then Lurker. During a fight, you may skip your turn and act last after all other adventurers in your party have taken a turn. So that's kind of cool. He can hold back and kind of make the other characters maybe whittle him down. Then he can like sneak in and get the last shot, get the kill shot for the XP. And then of course those get a little more powerful. And then he gets his luck back by when you destroy a human with an XP value of 2 or more, make a magic test. If you pass, gain 1 luck. So pretty, I think that's a pretty hard thing to do. I'm not quite sure how often that'll come up. And then his other skills are combat reflexes and misdirection. So misdirection is if this card is attached to a monster during the established target phase, you may choose that monster's target. So you can attach this to a monster, then you can pick who that monster is going to target in the party. And then also combat reflexes. If you're in an aggressive stance, you get +1 agility and another bonus as a mastery. And then his weakness is Scratcher. So he's addicted to Scratch, the drug of the world. You are addicted to Scratch. When you rest, if you do not use Scratch during the map action phase, you become demoralized. And I think one of his one of his abilities gave him the ability to find Scratch easier. Maybe not. But there is an ability that can help you find Scratch. So you might want to take that. Oh, here it's on the weakness. So if you're in a settlement and you're bold, you can search the loot deck and discards for any scratch and buy it. So you always have an opportunity to buy scratch because he needs to get that scratch on. So, all right. Well, those are right now, my 5 favorite characters that I like the lore. I like the background. I like the thematic elements of these characters. I think they're very interesting. And this game just still continues to impress the hell out of me. It is truly a remarkable achievement in the hobby. So, all right, well, hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you've played Mean Streets, let me know how it's going. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.